There are many factors to consider when deciding on a place to live and build your life, from cost of living to safety and education. It can be challenging to decide what's most important to you.
Okay, so there's a personal finance website called Wallet Hub. They're also an app, and they've tried to do some of the legwork for you. They've compared the 50 states in these United States using 51 indicators and come up with a ranking here, a list of the, drum roll please, best places to live in America. Topping the list, this will be news to the people who live in this state, Massachusetts. Hey, Massachusetts.
Joining us here in the studio is Wallet Hub analyst Jill Gonzalez. Jill, thanks for joining us. So how did you come up with the top rankings? And I have to say, I'm a little surprised Massachusetts is at the top because it's a colder state.
Yes, weather actually was a factor, one of those 51 indicators that you mentioned. But we looked at things like affordability, quality of life, what the state's economy looks like right now, and of course, quality of things like education and healthcare.
The top 4 states, according to this little note I have here, scored highest in affordability, and New York was in the affordability matrix on the good side of things?
No. So there is certainly this sense of you get what you pay for. Places like New York, Massachusetts, New Jersey, all are not the most affordable places to be when it comes to property taxes or inflation, things like that. But
so they scored in the top. So the affordability index ranked them highest. Actually, that means on affordability.
Right.
Correct.
So toward the bottom in terms of affordability, but toward the top in most other categories.
And what else made New Jersey stand out? I have to ask. I live in New Jersey. You're from New Jersey.
That's right. So New Jersey, very hard to beat in terms of the quality of its public health care system and its public school system. Some of the highest graduation rates in the country, a lot of people going on to secondary schools. So all of that very helpful, especially if you're looking for not only somewhere to live, but somewhere to raise a family.
Let's darken the mood here by talking about the worst places to live.
The worst places. So there were certainly some regional trends. A lot of the Northeast did very well. Toward the bottom, more southern states. The very bottom was New Mexico. Right before that, Alaska. Of course, weather, again, is certainly in there, but not great when it comes to public school systems and healthcare. A lot of waiting time, a lot of wait lists for schools. So that's something to consider.
I love New Mexico and Alaska. We got Louisiana down there. It looked like Mississippi was low on the list as well. But we keep hearing that people are moving out of the Northeast and going to the Sun Belt, to Florida, to the South in general. Is that not reflected, or has there been movement in these rankings?
Yeah, there's certainly movement. We update these every year. And I would say, this did include education, healthcare. Maybe if you're retiring, those are not priorities for you, especially when it comes to things like education. So when we do see people moving to the Sun Belt, a lot of that has to do with taxes. Lower property taxes, lower costs when it comes to housing. If you're living on a fixed income, all of these things are something to consider. So that's why we try to look at so many different categories.
Well, in addition to people moving to the Sun Belt areas, we also know a lot of people, especially during the pandemic, moved out west. Boise, Idaho had explosive growth, Utah, different places like that. How are the property values out there, and how are the housing prices?
So that's one thing. These places used to be very affordable. Now they're getting further and further from that. And there's more demand there. So the supply has kind of needed to catch up as well. But Wyoming actually was another huge contender here, right up in the top 10.
Interesting. Did this change your thinking in terms of where you might live the rest of your life? I mean, it'd be impossible not to cover this kind of stuff and not be infected in some way. So you're from New Jersey, you live in the Northeast now. Would you go somewhere else?
Maybe eventually. Again, when we're talking about retiring and the property taxes and things maybe not being as worth it as we thought they once were. But right now, at least this ranking, yes, I live in a crazily unaffordable place, but it's worth it. There's this sense of you get what you pay for. Your property taxes are having some type of return on investment.
All right, Jill Gonzalez, thanks so much for breaking it all down for us.
Anytime.